Welcome, everybody to River City Media. Another special edition of programming here on River City tonight. College baseball SEC edition. Join me, my buddy from we've been on a podcast and we're going to be on future podcasts together. D-Swane, the Florida Gator. What's up, buddy?
What's happening, my man?
Well, I'm not as happy as you are right now. Of course, my Vols lost last night, but your Gators are about to play here in a few minutes. But what a huge emotional victory on Friday night that was.
Yeah, it was a roller coaster, and I mean, my boy Kate Fisher from Dalton, Georgia, got to see some action. Gave up a couple of hits. Looked like it was going to spell doom for Florida, but they chipped away. Actually got it to within one in top of the ninth. Virginia had a guy hit one in the corner, getting a triple, getting an insurance run. First batter for Florida, Ty Evans, who actually had just come in pinch hit 2 innings before, hit a laser out of the ballpark, and then one batter later, Wyatt Langford hit one from Omaha to Lincoln, I think. That thing might still be traveling. He absolutely mashed it. And then I think Virginia's coach is going to second guess himself. He left the pitcher in there for 3 more hitters. Ended up giving a hit, base hit to Jack Caglione, the home run leader in college baseball this year, and super stud sophomore. Then walked Josh Rivera, and then the catcher, my man BT, got hit, finally pulled him, and freshman for Florida, crap, I can't think of his name right now, Heyman.
Yeah.
He hit a sac fly to walk it off.
Well, Luke Heyman, I think.
Luke Heyman, that's it.
And, in Virginia, up to that point, the starter in the game had been very effective. The Virginia manager was at a point where Pecos gets him out of the pen. He's ahead in the game. He's got a quality start. And I see where you say he's going to question himself, because if he goes 2 or 3 batters earlier, I don't know if Florida's got this rally going late in the game.
Well, they pulled the starter.
You're right.
He had thrown the most pitches he'd thrown all season. I think he's up to 120 or something. And they pulled him in the I can't remember if he pulled him. I think he pulled him halfway through the 7th. He gave up the home run to Rappel in the 8th. And then, the wheels fell off in the bottom of the 9th.
And when they went to the pen, you're right.
Yeah.
Well, you said it earlier in the week when we were talking. Florida did have a little bit more of a manageable path over there. But tonight they have a big game going with a team, I guess everybody's darling in this bracket and in the NCAA tournament. That's Oral Roberts, who defeated TCU 6-5 earlier in the week.
Yeah, they hit a 3-run homer in the top of the 9th of the first game of the World Series, and then held on in the bottom to win 6-5. Yeah, I mean, they're a good team. I watched them some in the Super Regional. They like to swing the bat, which I like. Around here, a lot of people hate Florida. And around the country, yeah, everybody loves the underdog.
Yeah.
And I get playing the bad guy. That's all right. But, I mean, Oral Roberts has had some transfers from bigger schools. They weren't getting playing time or the playing time they wanted. They're a solid club. And, I mean, Florida can't just throw their helmets out there and say, here we are, we win. But Florida's got Hurston Waldrop going tonight, and that dude has been dealing. He's got 25 strikeouts in 15 innings in the regional and super regional in his 2 starts. one earned run, and he's got 3 A pitches. He's got a 96-mile-an-hour fastball, 86-mile-an-hour slider that's nasty, and then he throws a split that moves all over the place. So I'm sure, he'll be a little nervous, get through the first inning unscathed, and he gets settled in. He can run through the lineup. Florida's top. The thing is, Florida's top of their lineup hadn't hit great since the SEC tournament. They carried them in the SEC tournament, but they've been shaky in the regional and the super regional. It's been the bottom of the lineup really has been carrying them. So need to get the top of the lineup, getting some hits, getting on base a lot here on out to, really have a chance at winning.
I think we're college baseball fans. We follow it year round, but folks who don't follow it don't know. Just like when I got Tennessee went to Southern Miss to play, these mid majors in baseball are not the same as mid majors in basketball or football. Baseball talent, because of the scholarship limits, are a little more spread around. Plus, up on the upper end, the Florida, Tennessee, LSU, a lot of your signees end up going straight into the minor leagues, where a team like Oral Roberts can get some transfers down. They have some kids signed, and all of a sudden, they're as talented as anybody in the nation.
Oh yeah, and there's so many high school kids. You can Oral Roberts or through the TCU. It's not like TCU's a predominant.
College Charleston won the tournament a couple of years ago.
College Charleston, and the thing is, it's just like girls softball. If the person on the rubber's dealing, they can shut bats down quick, and all it takes is one guy that threw 86 in high school, gets stronger. A couple of years later, he's throwing 96, and he's on College Charleston or TCU or Oral Roberts. Get a couple, like you said, a couple of bats transfer in, guys that split time at Florida State, Texas.
Yep.
Places like that, and you got a team that can roll.
All right, let's jump over the other bracket for a minute, D-Swane. We'll get both sides covered. Everybody, we're probably going to go about 30 minutes tonight. We don't want to. Florida first pitches at 7. When I came on, we're the mid of the earlier game. It was 4-2. Do you have any update on that, D-Swane?
It's 4-3, bottom of the ninth. Virginia has a runner on second. There's 2 outs. So
Virginia fighting for their life there.
They're fighting for their life right now.
And wait, if you don't understand the tournament, and I've been through this a couple of times today, it's double elimination until you get to the finals. So the Vols, while they've got a loss, any other loss, they're out.
Yeah, anytime. So tomorrow, the loser of the Tennessee
Stanford.
Tennessee Stanford, they're going home.
Yes. And then you'll play that double elimination, and like tonight, the loser of Florida and ORU will then go to that loser bracket, and they'll play whoever wins the other side of the bracket, and you just start playing these elimination games. If you win and you keep winning and you stay in that winner's bracket, 2 things: you're not playing as many games, and you're protecting that bullpen. So longer
That's
you can
exactly right.
Longer
TCU just won.
Yes. Who did TCU?
TCU just won the game.
Okay, so longer you stay in that upper bracket, D-Swane, the better off you are, correct?
Oh, yeah. You want to – well, I saw a stat the other night during the Florida game. 21 of the last 25 College World Series champs started the series 2-0. So it's almost vital.
Yeah.
That you go 2-0. Look at one. like you said, the bullpen. But I mean, that's the difference between college and professional baseball. Most teams are going to have 2 stud pitchers, and then you're just figuring out who you can go out there, or you're using everybody for just a couple innings. Florida's got 3 pretty solid, because my boy Jack Caglione, even though he's leading the country in home runs, he's also 6-1, I think, or 6-0 as a starter. Those 98, big lefty. He's Florida's number 3. So they win tonight. He'll probably get to start Tuesday.
Well, let's jump to Tennessee for a little bit. Last night they faced probably what's going to be the number 1 draft pick in baseball in screens. And
it's probably going to be the first pitcher. It sounds like that Dylan Cruz,
yes,
from LSU. Sounds like everything I'm hearing, he's going number 1.
So you're facing the first pitcher to go and the first hitter to go in one team at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Very super talented. Screens transfers from Air Force, gets out of his military commitment, which they kept talking about was for him a very hard thing to do. And he's a quality young man. And
they even said he's going to go back whenever his professional career is over.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, for 7 2/3, Tennessee could not touch him. Nasty, nasty, nasty.
Yeah. You get a guy throwing 101, and then, his second pitch, slider, curve, whatever it was good enough. And then, you show those 2. The changeup doesn't even have to be that good. Just keep it down.
Yeah.
Because you've got the hitters so geared up to hit 100 that if the changeup's close to the strike zone, before they recognize it's a changeup, they've already started, and you get going after 101. You can't stop your swing.
Very true. Very true. And they started here at number 1, relinquished number 1 at some point to Wake Forest, but coming into the tournament, I think a lot of people said that side of the bracket with Wake Forest, who beat Stanford 3-2, was probably the side of the bracket that was going to be hardest to advance in.
Oh yeah, absolutely. If I couldn't have handpicked the side for Florida to be in any better, and that's not trying to take anything away from the 3 teams in the bracket. Virginia's ranked 8th, and they went toe-to-toe with Wake Forest all year over in the ACC. So it's not like they were a slouch or anything. And TCU come in winning 20-something in a row?
I want to say it was 21 in a row. Or maybe it was 26. I know it's somewhere in the low 20s.
Yeah.
Everybody's good at this point. Even let's talk about Tennessee. Tennessee's strength as a team probably got exposed last night, and it's in the front end starters may not be as good as everybody else, but their strength really be if they can get by Stanford and get into day 3 and 4 of the tournament. Tennessee may have the best bullpen in the College World Series, but you're not going to.
They're like a polar opposite from last year.
Yes.
All offense, all the time. I mean, they had good arms last year, but they don't have the hitters they had last year,
nope.
And they've got most of the arms back with another year of experience.
Yes. And that pen got 2 or 3 kids that throw an upper 90s, and then Chase Burns at the back of it at 102. So if the Vols, I don't know if they can win, as you said, 25-21, but if they can get through Stanford and get into some of these games on Wednesdays and Thursdays where you got to take somebody from the pen and maybe start them, Tennessee might be better equipped.
Tennessee for sure.
Yeah. But first, go ahead.
What Tennessee's got to do is win the first game.
Yes.
And I I'm not a huge fan of Tennessee's coach, but I do think he's a really good coach.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure he's telling them, look, boys, we ain't out of this. It's not over.
Yep.
We just got to win that first game. Then we'll proceed accordingly.
Good Stanford team on the other side that went 3-2 with, I think the betting odds, Wake Forest was the favorite on DraftKings headed in. But, you know, a lot of money was going LSU's way, too. So
Wake is arguably the best team in the country, and they swing it. I mean, they swing it. They, you know, they got top-end studs on the mound.
Wake going ahead till tomorrow, and Wake and LSU should be a heck of a game, D-Swane.
Oh, yeah, I'm looking. I'll be tuning in, I promise you.
All right, let's jump over to the Gators here real fast. The Gators face Oral Roberts tonight. What do you expect from the Gators tonight as you say, to getting 2-0? At this point, you want to get and they did make a change a few years ago. That last series is the best 2 out of 3. So if you can get there, if you lose one and then you can still get there, you start 0-0 with whoever gets there. But 2-0 is a huge advantage, and here's the Gators' opportunity.
Yeah, the thing they've got to do tonight, and the thing I'd like to see them do tonight, is jump on them early. Again, Waldrop, I want to see him get through the first inning, get the nerves out of the way, because I don't care what you've done in the past. It's your first World Series start. Mm-hmm. There's going to be nerves.
Right.
Just get through the first inning. I'd like, I'd like to see the top of the order. Get momentum going early. Maybe score a run or two in the first. And I'd really like to see them put their foot on their throat and let Oral Roberts know they are a great story, but sorry about your luck. Your luck's run out. And but I expect, I can't speak on Oral Roberts' pitching, so I don't know what to expect. I'm sure they've got an arm that'll be formidable.
Yeah. And most of these schools do have as you said, 1 and 2 is usually pretty good on anybody that's made it this far.
That's exactly right. Florida is what? First in the SEC in home runs and in the top 3 in the country in home runs.
Yeah, they hit the ball around.
So they need to be disciplined. Don't chase. The leadoff hitter, the little freshman second baseman, has to get going. He's struggled since the SEC tournament, but it's going to be fun to watch. I'm sure I'm going to be a nervous wreck. I don't really have any fingernails to chew tonight, so I need them to cut me some slack and take the pressure off.
Yeah, well, I didn't have much pressure last night at 5-0. Most of the way, it was so dominating. You really didn't. When it's so bad that you don't chew your fingernails, you know it's bad. So I understand.
Yeah, but when they got to 5-3, I bet you started. There was something rolling in your stomach a little bit.
Got a little hope at 5-3. D-Swane, jump off the subject a minute, and we'll wrap up here in a little bit. And everybody talks about Texas and Oklahoma joining the SEC in football, but let's go back. Kentucky came within a breath of making the College World Series. South Carolina won the College World Series a couple of years ago. Mississippi State may be the best historic baseball team in the country. And in Texas, joining the SEC is easily a top 10, probably higher than that program.
Yeah, they were in the Super Regional this year, and let's not forget softball. I hear I'm a big softball fan. I love college softball. I started that when my oldest was about 6 years old. She was playing. So we started watching it because we knew, she was going to get in fast pitch and all that. I really enjoy watching it. And, of course, and I know it's not talked about a bunch, but it's talked about enough. And I've read people say Oklahoma doesn't know what it's like playing SEC. I don't think they understand what Oklahoma brings to the table.
No, they don't.
Tennessee's really good. Florida historically is really good. They weren't as good this year. They didn't have that stud pitcher in the circle like they normally do. Rumor is they got the number one pitcher in the country coming next year. We'll see. It does hurt Oklahoma a little bit because they lost their stud in the circle. She's a Nebraska girl, and she is transferred out, and she's going back home to play for Nebraska her last 2 years. But I'm sure they're going to find somebody that will settle in, and I don't think the SEC schools know what they're getting when Oklahoma comes in.
Softball-wise, Oklahoma has just been dominating at times.
Yeah, I mean, they're three teams. They're a true dynasty. They're the class of softball.
And I look for Oklahoma basketball. I think Oklahoma football is going to struggle in the SEC for a few years. And I don't like their coach, but I really look for Oklahoma basketball to take that leap real fast. And I don't know what their football program does, but I do think their men's basketball program will be formidable fast in the SEC.
Here's my belief on all that. It's almost like the NFL now. With the NIL the way it is, you're 2 years away from being really good or really bad. Because you're getting free agents every year.
Yes. Yeah, you're correct. And I go back to football. Tennessee turned it around in 2 years and if we didn't have the portal in NIL, they would not have went 11-2 last year. You think about beating Alabama was a throw from a transfer portal kid to another transfer portal kid. Those kids are not there without NIL and transfer portal. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
So it's a different world we live in, and you're exactly right. You're 2 years away from anything in a sport. All right, D-Swane, give me I think I know I'm going to go with the Gators tonight just because I don't know enough about Oral Roberts to pick them. I think the Gators get to 2-0, and they're sitting pretty tonight. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, and, obviously I'm biased, but I'm also trying to be logical. And, again, if Waldrop is out there dealing it, shoving it like he has his last 2 starts, I'd feel good if it was Wake Forest. I mean, he's been that good.
Yeah.
I feel
somebody's from that side of the bracket's going to get to that playoff game. It's going to happen. Whoever ends up 2-0 in that side of the bracket, to me, and I know it gets mixed up as it gets closer, loser bracket and stuff. But whoever is 2-0 tonight, or Roberts or Florida, with Wake Forest and LSU being on the other side, I just feel like they've got a very good chance to get to that final series.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, let's jump over a little bit. Wake Forest, LSU. What do you think happens?
Man, it's going to be such a good game. It's going to be such a fun game to watch because I'm not going to have any stress at all about it. Yep. I'm just going to watch it as a fan. I had the feeling that Wake's the team to beat, and I don't know. I don't want to make my boy Jeff Cooper mad. He's a big LSU fan, but gun to my head right now, I would take Wake over LSU this go round.
LSU was my pick. I mean, Wake was my pick going in, so I'm going to stick with my pick.
Yeah.
Tennessee Stanford is a winner must. I think Tennessee Stanford is going to be an interesting game on Monday. 7 o'clock. I do like Tennessee. I do like our number 2 starter going. Stanford got a drop fly ball to get into College World Series, but somebody's going home Monday night, and it's a coin flip at that point.
It is. It's a toss up, just like all of them seem to be. And all what we played now? 2, 4, 5 games.
Yes.
Haven't they all been 2 runs or less?
They have been. Well, I think Tennessee ended up 6-3, didn't they?
Did they?
Yeah. LSU scored again after we come back and made it 5-3.
Okay. Well,
that's the biggest gap of any game to this point.
Yep. Yeah, because TCU just won 4-3. Yeah, I expect both games tomorrow to be close, within 2 runs either way. Maybe again, I'm a homer with the SEC. Gun to my head, I would pick Tennessee over Stanford.
Now, if it's right in my head, Tennessee then would play Tennessee and Virginia. Well, then
Virginia's done.
I mean, not Virginia. Tennessee and TCU would then play the teams that lose, or the winner of Tennessee, Stanford, and TCU would play the teams that lose tonight, I believe is the way it goes, and tomorrow.
I thought it was 2 14 double elimination brackets, essentially.
I looked at it and I wasn't sure if it would go Tennessee and the loser tonight, or TCU and the loser tomorrow night, or how that goes. So
I think it's the loser of the Florida game will play TCU Tuesday.
All right, let me just look here. Tuesday, the winner of Game 5, which the Game 5 was TCU Virginia, will play the loser of Game 6. Yep, you're right. TCU will play the loser of
Oral Roberts, Florida.
Yes, and then Tennessee was playing in Game 8.
So Tennessee's playing in Game 7. They're playing 7.
Yes.
The winner of that game will play the loser of Wake Forest LSU.
Right. You got it. And you got it. Boy, it's a little confusing when you get to that point.
Yep.
So, all right. It's Friday, and all this double elimination's over, and we're looking at next week starting a 3-game series. Give me your 2 teams that are there.
I think it's going to be Wake, Florida.
Okay. I kind of feel the same. I feel like if Florida can win tonight, and the winner of Wake LSU will be the other side of the bracket.
Oh, I definitely believe that. But since I said I think Wake's going to win, again tomorrow, then I feel like they're going to close it out and get to the best 2 out of 3 round.
All right, D-Swane, you got about an hour and a half for first pitch. Anything you're going to do to
get here and watch some U.S. Open? The leaders just teed off. They're on hole 1, and the U.S. Open's been fun too. So,
and that they'll probably get how far before the light gets them tonight?
Well, they're in California, so they're good.
They're good. All right.
Yeah, it's 2:30 out there.
Oh, okay. I was thinking they were. I don't know why I thought they were in Chicago.
No, they're in L.A.
All right. Well, you've got an hour and a half, and that'll probably be late night TV. And if you're on the East Coast,
absolutely, yeah. The Thursday and Friday they played up till almost 11 o'clock, and that's a lot of fun. I love prime time golf.
That'll be cool. I might have to flip that on, catch some of that. Who's leading the U.S. Open?
Do what?
Who's leading right now?
Ricky Fowler and Rory birdied 1, so it's Rory McIlroy, Ricky Fowler, and Wyndham Clark are all tied at 10 up.
That to me, that's the fact. I've watched a little bit of it this week. Not what I normally do. I've got it recorded, but man, is that green monster! I mean, if you get off of the fairway, you're just in.
Oh yeah, the rough is just it's going to cost you a stroke. Period.
It's worse than my backyard trying to hit out of it.
That's right.
So, all right, D-Swane, and folks, just a little. We're getting close. I know I kind of set it up, and we kind of slowed down and changed. New show with the cast of the old show back on it. We're going to call it Below and the Boys. And D-Swane and I are there to be the bad boys of social media. And looking forward, D-Swane.
It's not just that we're there to be the bad boy. We just are.
We are.
We can't help it.
That's true. That's true. That's true. We got, and it's not bad boys in any other way, but we're passionate about sports. I mean, you and I are.
It's just love.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, there's going to be some Georgia fans that get a little hurt and a little upset, but there's no hate about it. It's just my opinion. I'm not saying it because I have any hate towards anybody. It's how I see it, and people don't have to agree with me. And we can talk about it. We can discuss why someone thinks I'm right or wrong. I don't have to be right all the time. You just have to explain or talk to me about why you think I'm not right.
Well, we've got a good eclectic group. We've got BB Brent Barnett, who is a Georgia fan on the cast. You're there as a Florida fan. Myself as a Tennessee fan. Belo moderates. He's a Tennessee fan. I don't know, but I've been accused of being an Alabama fan because after Tennessee, Alabama, I was like, that's the standard bearer. We were celebrating a Vols fan, but you have to get past that hump. But the hump, we still got to get past the other hump right now in the East, which is Georgia. You can't play for a national championship till you win the East.
That's right. So, and the thing is, and I'm not going to beat up on Tennessee fans too hard here, but everything went right in the Alabama game. An intelligent fan will not argue that. I know you won't argue that.
No.
They got a huge break with that interception called back because that's the game. When they called the pass interference in the end zone.
Yep.
So,
Kool-Aid McKinstry.
A lot of things went right for that win. Now, do it again.
Yep.
You got to do it more than once for people to really think, all right, Tennessee's got something.
We are at an interesting point, and of course the East dies after this year, but still, you got to go out and compete for the East, and you have even losing to Alabama. If you go on the road and lose Alabama, you've got Georgia coming to Knoxville in late November,
and going to the swamp.
Yeah, and Georgia. This might be the cocktail party, and going to Knoxville in 23 is by far the two biggest tests on Georgia's schedule.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's not Georgia's fault. It's the SEC schedule, and it just happens to fall that way this year.
Well,
it's horrible.
They also have 4 just dreadful out-of-conference games.
Yeah, I can't say a lot about that.
Because Auburn, Georgia, even though Auburn's, who knows where they're at, that's still it's a rivalry game.
Yes, absolutely.
But yeah, the 4 just awful out-of-conference games is why everybody's down on Georgia's schedule. And here's the thing: Georgia, they won't admit it, or they get defensive when you mention it. But here's the thing: you're hollering three-peat with a guy that's never started a college game, even though you supposedly had the greatest quarterback in the history of college football in Stetson Bennett. Now, we all know when you lose a stud quarterback, you take a step back. You just do. that they're not even thinking about them losing a game.
Well,
even though they're going to be starting a quarterback that's never started, and they lose a 3-year start.
I give Stetson Bennett a hard time, but he was the perfect quarterback for that system at the time.
Well, he was the perfect quarterback for this past. There was 40 guys that could have been quarterback in that system this past year, and all the credit for that offense's success this past year should go to Monken, who is no longer with them.
Yep. Well,
he knew Bennett could not do the 5 and 7 yard 7-step drops and consistently beat teams. He can't. But he also knew that Brock Bauer is the best offensive player in college football, in my opinion. So you hand it to him, you throw it to him, you let him lead block around the end, and that dude just does it all.
D-Swane, speaking of that, and why can't he win the Heisman? That drives me crazy.
It's a quarterback trophy for all
intents
and purposes now, even though, yes, he should. If he does anything like he has the last 2 years, and I fully expect him to, and he should have been, if there was a Georgia player in New York this past year, it 100% should have been Brock Bauer, not Stetson Bennett.
I agree with that. And, I'm not – I was a big – and I am a Tennessee fan, and everybody knows it, and I still harp. If Hendon Hooker led the Heisman Trophy for 10 weeks, even with a torn ACL, he should have been in New York. But,
I agree with that, and there's a reason he was the SEC first-team quarterback and Stetson Bennett wasn't.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I said that day, Brock Bowers are to be in New York. So, and again, we got a lot of different opinions, and we're going to do the show a little different this time. But I'm looking forward to it, and it's going to be a little more interaction between the cast and everybody that knows you and I know we both bring the fact, and we want to talk. I love Tennessee, but I'm willing to lay the facts out, just like for the Tennessee fans. It comes down to, in 2023, is Joe Milton the quarterback he was in 21, or is Joe Milton better than he was in 20? And that's the fact of the matter,
There's two huge questions for Tennessee to determine whether they're going to be a 10-win team or a 6-7 win team. That's one of them. How's Joe Milton going to play week in and week out? He looked great against Clemson. I get it. But let's be honest, Clemson was uninspired. And even still, when they did get pressure on him, he didn't really know what to do. So week in, week out, how's Milton going to play? And is the defense going to be better? Because if it's not,
it don't have to be. And just like the guy, Brandon Walker on Barstool said the other night on Necessary Roughness, it doesn't have to be 100% better. It needs to be 20% better.
No, it's got to be better. It doesn't have to be 50% better.
Because that defense is still going to play. Last year, I think, was 120th in snaps. And that defense is going to give up points. What you're going to have to be able to do is create turnovers and negative plays. And they, at times last year against good teams, they couldn't.
Right.
Especially in that Georgia game, they struggled with getting to Bennett, and even against Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson had his best game of the year against Utah and Tennessee. Go ahead.
Anthony Richardson threw for 300 yards once in his career. And it was against Tennessee, and he threw for 450.
Yeah. He had a great game, too.
He did. He played really well. Now, Tennessee did get after him a little bit, but they weren't able to get to him, and he made some plays on the move.
Well, when we got him off the spot, we at least made him make a couple of critical mistakes. When we got Bryce Young off the spot, it was more dangerous than him being on. He's the one quarterback that we faced in the last 5 years is more dangerous off the spot than he was. Because once you got him moving, he could do things with the football nobody else in the nation could.
Right.
So, well, D-Swane, we'll have plenty of time to talk about football. Let's get some U.S. Open and some baseball, and it's good to talk to you again, brother.
Good talking to you. I look forward to us getting this cranked up here next week or so.
Yep. Below and the boys, the train wreck of social media. It's coming. The High Grass Posse returns, and the bad boys of social media, D-Swane and QB-1 returns. All right, buddy. Talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon, bud.
Talk to you later, buddy.
Happy Father's Day, my man.
Happy Father's Day. Hey, shout out all them great kids of yours.
I had lunch with 3 of them today. It was pretty awesome. Madison is in Louisiana with my stepdaughter. She's down there till sometime in August. And Ryan, Grayson, and Isabella were awesome. And I'll shout out to Grayson's little boyfriend, Trevor. He's a good kid. We had a good time. It was a good lunch today.
Absolutely. All right, D-Swane, we'll see you soon, buddy.
Talk to you soon, bud.
All right.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right, again, there's D-Swane talking baseball, a little bit about Below and the boys. Coming to RiverCity-Media soon. D-Swane and I, passionate sports fans, a Tennessee fan, a Florida fan, but we always have a good time. You know, folks, when it's about love and friendship and brotherhood, you might wear different colors, but you still love the same things. For Randall Cunningham, good night and God bless. Hit that follow on River City Media.